Well, I kind of missed out on the Wednesday Q&A, so I'm doing one big Wednesday Q&A here on OTR Essential. Reminder, tweet your questions for the Monday and Wednesday Q&A episodes to @OTR Essential on Twitter. The Facebook page for OTR Essential is where you post your questions for the Friday edition. Let's get started with this Q&A, though. Let's have some fun. Mark Linus Jr. asks, who protects who more in a loss? WWE with John Cena or ESPN with Peyton Manning? You could argue it's a push. I mean, the biases are there almost in an equivalent fashion for both. However, based off of length of time and how much it's ingrained into the sporting culture, I have got to go with ESPN and the national sports media as a whole when it comes to Peyton Manning. There's always an excuse. It's always something. There's always something else to blame. There is always some way to deflect away from him. And as bad as it's been with John Cena, it's been like that much longer with Peyton Manning, going back to his college days at Tennessee in the mid-90s. So I'm going to go with Peyton Manning and ESPN and the national sports media as a whole. Let's not just single out ESPN here. And I don't even think it's close. You think the Cena bias is bad with WWE? Holy Christ, check out the national sports media bias with Peyton Manning. And the reason is because, again, bashing Peyton, questioning Peyton, calling out Peyton is bad for the NFL brand, is bad for the Peyton Manning brand, and as a result, the NFL and the national sports media, Peyton Manning just can't have that. All right, let's see here. What do we got next? Wrestling fan 658, what are your thoughts on TNA trying to sign Edge? They are. Maybe I missed this one. You're serious. There's actually a report that's like actually a real thing that TNA would try to sign it. Fits the TNA MO of years past, bringing in former WWE top guys when they're no longer that and pushing them to the moon. And a lot of these guys that can't go at the same level in the ring anymore, well, that most certainly would be the case with Edge. So they might as well make him the highest paid guy on the fucking roster. Oh my God. Simply recommend. What type of backlash have you gotten for your Dolph Ziggler and Daniel Bryan videos? I don't know if it's backlash. People aren't going to agree with me, but I wouldn't classify that as backlash. Where is it said that that's backlash? You know, people can disagree with me. That's called having opinions. It's like assholes. Everybody's got one, and usually everyone stinks. So I don't think that's anything that I would classify as backlash. As far as Daniel Bryan, sure, I'm sure that ruffled many feathers the wrong way, so be it. It's the way I feel. Tough shit. As far as Dolph Ziggler, you know, to me that was more talking about hypocrisy among certain segments of wrestling fandom, whereas guys like Ryback and Roman Reigns aren't ready, but all of a sudden Dolph Ziggler is, and yet if he won, we know goddamn good and well what the reaction would be. It would be universally the most awesome thing of all time, and it's fucking stupid. And I'm sorry, I'm not building a WrestleMania main event around Dolph Ziggler. There's not even enough of an established character there to be able to sit there and say that he justifies that spot. You know, if you say, well, he's paid his dues, he's earned that spot, compared to who? And it's not like Ziggler hasn't been given opportunities. So I think I had a lot less disagreement with the Dolph Ziggler video compared to Daniel Bryan because there's a lot less to disagree with Dolph Ziggler winning the Rumble as opposed to Daniel Bryan. As I even stated with Daniel Bryan, arguments can be made. I don't think a good one can be made for Dolph Ziggler winning the Rumble. Let me go here. Niche_set_OLA. Niche set Ola. Michael Cole just annoys me as a commentator. What does Vince see in this guy? A puppet that will say whatever Vince wants him to say on air? A guy that's no threat to go really and do anything else? There's reasons Michael Cole is in the spot that he's in. That's why. Let me see here. What do we got next? Trevor Katende 13. Since you wouldn't have Daniel Bryan win the Royal Rumble this year, what match would you put him in at Mania? You know, for a long time I had penciled in him versus Seth Rollins, and I thought that would work incredibly well, not for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 31, mind you, unless it involves Seth Rollins going over Daniel Bryan clean. It's a different scenario. Not my ideal match, but it would still be a good booking decision and therefore positively impact the company. that would be a direction that I would consider going in. But in terms of Daniel Bryan and a match at WrestleMania, if you didn't have him win the Rumble, frankly, who are you going to send him at? I mean, are you going to go up the John Cena tree again? I think that's counterproductive. You're not going to send him up the Triple H tree again, I wouldn't think. God, let's hope not Kane. I mean, that's a problem for Daniel Bryan. You're kind of in a situation with him, with Randy Orton having, turned face even whenever he comes back. He's going to be babyface. Who do you really send Daniel Bryan at? It would either have to be Brock Lesnar in a title or non-title match at Mania, or it would have to be Seth Rollins. And those are the only real options that I can credibly see at this point. You've been down Bray Wyatt path before. You've done Triple H before. You've done Kane before numerous times. You can't really go to Cena because that's not really a good use of the resources with Cena and Bryan. There's not a lot of options for Daniel Bryan, frankly. It's almost to a point where you would have to have him win the Royal Rumble in order for him to have something serious to do at WrestleMania, if you think about it. Let's see here. Miss Dat asks, do you and your girl like to stink face each other too? My husband and I do, but only fresh out of the shower. Are you happy that question finally got read? I'm sorry, I think there's something fundamentally wrong with the guy wanting to sit on a girl's face. Unless he is straddling her at chin level because he's putting his nuts on her chin and his dick in his mouth and he's just going to town on it. That's a different story. That's more of a spit face than a stink face. No, we don't. God damn it. Let's see here. WWE SVR fan 215. How happy are you that Macho Man is finally getting inducted? I've talked about that in a video already on this channel that you can check out if you want my full feelings. But I have to say I'm conflicted, but still happy too. I guess that's the best way you could put it. Real Ziggy 23. Who cuts a worse promo, Jeff Jarrett or Roman Reigns? Oh, Christ almighty. Both use scripted promos. At this point, you got to go Roman Reigns, don't you? Jeff Jarrett's bad. He's not Roman Reigns bad. Oh, good Christ. Let's see here. Let's see what we got next. Cyanide Rain. If Shockmaster was the GM and Sid the COO feuding into WrestleMania 31, what would you say? Couldn't be any worse than what you got now. And what would you think of doing Lesnar and Steiner at WrestleMania 31? Oh, Christ. It's an international suplex fest. P. Drisk 60. What's your favorite movie and song of all time? Favorite movie of all time probably still is Shawshank Redemption. Favorite song of all time is probably Thriller. Yeah, I'd have to go with that. With an honorable mention to NWA's Fuck the Police. Let's see here. And then P. Drisk 60 also asked, if Savage goes into the Hall, should he go in alone with the Pathos or with Elizabeth? To me, you almost got to do him alone, although for many fans like myself that grew up on the Macho Man and grew up with Elizabeth being there as his heater and then as his sympathizer, it almost doesn't feel right in a lot of ways if she didn't go in as part of that. I can understand why she wouldn't be, why the family of her wouldn't want that to happen. And when Savage goes in, it represents so many different things for me, so... yeah, I'm okay with just Savage going in. It needed to happen. Sadly, it should have happened a long time ago. Anime Master 0079. Do you think there will ever be a true black WWE champion? Someday, perhaps. Ain't coming anytime soon. I can guarantee you that. Lee Groves. Do you think some of the NXT roster will debut at this year's Rumble? And are we going to see a double Rumble win? I wouldn't eliminate the possibility of a double Rumble win, especially if Rollins has the belt heading into WrestleMania. They could do something screwy with Ambrose and Reigns. That is possible. I doubt it, but it is possible, and I'm not eliminating the possibility. As far as, will some of the NXT roster debut at this year's Rumble? Maybe. I think it would be a good idea to get the NXT champion in the Rumble and have him eliminate a guy or two, give some credibility to your NXT brand. That would be something that I would maybe do. I don't want to have it be a cavalcade of NXT guys, but one of them, yes, and I think that could work and work nicely. Let's see here. Lee Graves also wants to know, do you think, it was about AJ Lee, do you think we will ever see a Stephanie and AJ match at WrestleMania? Excuse me. In order for that to work, they would really have to go down the Punk dynamic. I think they really would. I mean, you could do it without it and it would kind of work, but it would be like the 800-pound gorilla in the room if they did Stephanie and AJ in a feud, especially culminating in a WrestleMania match, and they didn't go down the CM Punk path. Why do it if you're not going to go there? So I don't think that we'll see it. We could see it, and it might work, but, I mean, sorry, honestly, it just wouldn't seem right. It wouldn't seem the same. It wouldn't work as well as I think it should. Let's see here. Aponte J. Smooth, my man. If Seattle were to knock off Manning and Brady in the Super Bowl in back-to-back years, where would this team rank all time? Very, very high on the list, especially if they perform defensively in the Super Bowl against, let's say, a Patriots team in a similar fashion to what they did last year against Broncos and Peyton Manning in Super Bowl 48. It would be back-to-back Super Bowl championships against two of the best of all-time quarterbacks. You got to put that team right at the top of the list. I'm sorry, you do. It's not just trying to pump up bullshit about the current crop. It's not forgetting the history or the past, because we know that that's not what I'm about at all. If anything, I overrate the past in order to underrate the present and the future. But you do that, you got to be talking about one of the truly great teams of all time. There's no question about that. Mr. Tuxedo, now that Peyton Manning has choked his supposedly last playoff game, who will be the NFL's next franchise player? The guy that beat him, Andrew Luck. He's soft-spoken. He's white. NFL media loves them some Andrew Luck. He's that nice, safe, vanilla bread type of Peyton Manning type of guy. And he'll be the guy that fits that newer generation of quarterbacks that are mobile, that can make plays with their feet, that can pick up big yards on the ground via scrambling. So it's a way of the NFL and the sports media of being able to adjust to the times while still embracing what they prefer, which is the white quarterback. For the NFL, their motto and philosophy, in my opinion, is you got to have the white quarterback, because that's what they love the most. That's what they truly, truly love the most. And yes, they have definitely pushed black quarterbacks in the past and made stars out of them, made them household names, but it's not the same, and we goddamn good and well know it. Andrew Luck's that guy for them. And then the counterbalance to that, the other guy for them, because foolishly, the NFL and the media will view it this way because he'll be white enough to be all right enough, and that's going to be Russell Wilson. So it's going to be Luck as 1A, and then Wilson as 1B. And that's just fact. That's what's going to happen. Let's see here. D_Rizzle. Who was more important for Stone Cold in the rise of his career? Jake the Snake, Bret Hart, or Vince McMahon? Snake was important at King of the Ring 96. There's no question about it, but the impact was minimal. It was more of a launching point for Steve Austin. Then we get down to Bret Hart and Vince McMahon. And you talk about Bret and the work that he did with Austin late in 96 and into 97, no question, put Austin on a whole different plateau. But he had to have somebody to work off of ultimately once he got to the top and even on his path to the top, and that was Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon, from a on-screen standpoint and a business standpoint, was the most important figure in the rise of Stone Cold Steve Austin's career. No disrespect to Bret Hart at all, because he was incredibly significant and incredibly important. But he wasn't Vince McMahon important. So thanks to you guys that took to Twitter, tweeted your questions to @OTRS Central. I'll be back Friday with another Q&A. It'll be the Facebook Friday Q&A. So make sure you go there when I ask for your questions and give them to me.